Nice hat.
Hey, it's pretty stylish. You know, I like monster movies. A friend got this for me. I wanted to start the show by so you can see what it says. Is, do you like scary movies? And she got it for me when I was out this last year with the stroke I had, and she gave it to me as a gift. Her name was Samantha Kohler, and she was from Westmoreland County, one of our viewers down at CUTV. So I thought it was kind of stylish, kind of appropriate. I never got a chance to say thank you for it because I haven't done a show really since then. So I want to make sure she was thanked.
You have been thanked.
Yeah, really. Thanks.
Nice hat.
Yeah.
Some of you may be looking and saying, my goodness, it's Fior. What's he doing back there again? I'd like to tell you that I'm back by popular demand, but I have this thing about honesty. What actually happened was we did walk the plank and we introduced Barbara Steele, Eric's heartthrob from yesteryear.
That's why we're doing her twice.
Well, you haven't done her once yet, but that's okay.
You know, it come out of your mouth. It came out of my mouth before I said it, but yeah, we won't go.
We found out that not only did we rant and rave about Barbara Steele and the movie, The Ghost, but we had also turned things over to Captain Calico Drake, who was reading, if you will, real life ghost stories from the Branson House Museum. Is that it?
It was the Bradford House
Museum.
And
in Westmoreland
County?
County?
In Washington County.
Boy, I was all kind of wrong. Okay.
By popular demand.
Some of those stories just went on, and we thought, well, it's not fair to the audience to cut out the stories because they were fun. It's something that the captain hasn't done before on the show, and at least from the first part that aired, people seem to like it an awful lot. So what we decided to do is break the show up into two. So technically, I'm not back. This is the same Walk the Plank. It's just
part two.
Yeah, the second version of it.
I tend to ramble a lot when you give me a microphone, and you can't imagine how much I have to cut from the show normally. But when I was doing the bit at the Bradford House Museum, the show there was a 6 o'clock show and an 8 o'clock show. I call it a show because I don't know what else. A reading, I guess, where I'd read these ghost tales. And when I put them together, they ran long. Like the whole thing ran like 4 hours. I said, well, our show's only 3, and I got a movie to throw in there. So I had to I'm doing post-production on it. I'm thinking to myself, I can either cut out a lot of stuff from the Bradford Museum, and I'm thinking, well, what the hell am I doing this for? Or I could cut out the movie to the point where it doesn't make any sense. So I said, I'm just going to cut it right down the middle. There was a break right at the 2-hour mark. It just seemed to make better sense that way.
Isn't it funny how you have that rambling problem, and so does the captain?
Seems like a lot of people on TV have rambling problems. We could just talk forever.
Guys suffer from that, isn't it?
I promise you it's no after effects from what happened up here with the stroke last year. But I did want to say to Samantha Kohler, thank you so much for the hat. That was really sweet of you to do.
And, last show, we really talked a lot about Barbara Steele. And believe it or not, we are still looking to try to get her in for an interview. Yeah. So that might happen in the future. We do plan to do other movies of her. But this movie, The Ghost, in case you've missed the first part of Walk the Plank, or you might need a little bit of a refresher, maybe you should give them a thumbnail sketch on what this movie's all about.
Well, I can do better than that.
Okay.
I got a trailer that'll show you what's coming up tonight.
There we go. So here is Barbara Steele in The Ghost.
From beyond the veil he speaks, and rides unseen to mark this house with the black sign of death. They never knew the terror of fear. Stop it! Stop it! Shut up! And the frenzy of limitlessly indulging their lusts until the ghost turned their love into the violence of avaricious hate.
Ooh, looks like some spooky stuff.
Yeah, it really does.
You know, for 1963, this movie really did well at the box office and had a lot of people shaking in their seats when it was first aired. So that's kind of a good thing, I guess. Mm-hmm. So now that we've brought you up to speed on pretty much what we spent 30 minutes on the last show, what else are we going to do on this show? Well, we have a little bit of house cleaning to do, and we're going to get to that. But first, we have an exclusive interview.
That's right. And this is Bobbi Jo McFeely, who plays Annette on the show. And over the weekend, I had a chance to bring her to the studio and talk with her about her background and her acting and a whole lot more.
Here you go.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
And joining us today, we have a special guest, Bobbi Jo McFeely, who plays the character of Annette, the communications officer on the Swashbucklers Haunt. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, happy to do it.
I'm glad you could make it. Our fans at home, if you got a chance last time, she joined us on the after show, The Pirate's Booty, and told you a little bit about herself and all her experiences in theater and all her acting abilities.
Yep,
but now we get to see what she looks like. You put the face with the voice, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Annette. Do you like the character of Annette on the show?
I do. She's a lot of fun. Does a lot of different accents and things like that. So yeah, she's a lot of fun.
It's fun though because now our viewers can see a different side of you because you don't have that Pittsburgh accent in that. You know, and that's what you like to do on the show.
I do, yes.
How did her character develop like that with the Pittsburgh accent? How did that come about?
You know, it's one of those accents, again, that I can really kind of slip in and out of, and a lot of it is because we're based in Pittsburgh, so you might as well play that character up.
You know, I remember wrestling with the idea of what kind of, because she's so good at doing accents, and I wish I had something that I could have you say, like you could do a Southern accent.
I certainly can.
She can do, what else can you do?
I do Irish.
Oh, do the Irish one.
Of course.
But you know a little bit, you break into a little bit about with the Irish accent on the show, right?
I guess I kind of do. Yeah, I guess if I have to do the pirate accent, listen here, you dirty little brat. You know, I'm not going over there, you know, I can do a Russian as well, like, you know.
Strong like bull.
She's a very strong woman to fight Baron Woods, you know.
There's actually an episode I'm writing up here where I'm going to have you have some multiple disorders, multiple personalities.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yes.
Because she's so good at doing the accents. And I think it was the red hair that gave me the idea of doing the Irish bit.
Yes. That was...
But anyway, we wanted to have our viewers at home kind of meet you, greet you, and learn how the voice goes with the accents itself, and the face goes with the voice they heard last week. Now, on the show, you have a great big fuzzy red-haired wig.
Yes.
I know we did that many moons ago, came up with that idea, but I think you were kind of wanting to get away from that.
Yeah, I don't like the wig. And it's itchy, it's not my natural color, and I think part of it was because it was put on wrong and I just didn't like it, but I think we can do a lot more fun things with curlers and my natural color, and I still think we should somehow put that wig like in the background, like on a fake head or something that like periodically you can see that like what is she doing with this wig? You know, like we put it on another head or we do something fun with it. I thought that would be kind of fun.
Now, Dead and Buried Treasures is not your first acting gig.
No, I mean, I've done some like regular stage stuff. I was in Annie years ago when I was very young.
A lot of musicals?
Yes, yeah, a lot of musicals.
Now, the Little Lake Theater, I just found this out. Didn't you do some stuff for the Little Lake Theater?
No, Scottsdale Showtime.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
because I
think
remember...
they're called Gayer Theater now, I believe.
Yeah.
They were taken over like years ago.
I had some friends that did some work with local community theater and CLO downtown. And that's kind of the inside joke that we give. If you don't watch the show, if you watch the show nationally, you don't see how we do it, how we have a little bit of hometown Pittsburgh. But that's why we came up with the CLO. The Communication Liaison Officer, actually we did as a kind of a jest toward the CLO downtown.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's funny because I wanted to, I know you're a big fan of Wicked.
Oh, huge.
And I know that the Wizard of Oz Community Theater is doing something in Washington County. Did you ever think about auditioning for that?
I did, yeah.
I think you'd be great. Especially as, well, maybe not Glinda, but,
dear. Oh.
but some character on there, because you have a lot of, with your musical background, all your training and all your background, I mean, all your different accents, I mean, you could just run around as one of the Munchkins.
I am kind of short. I am standing on a box right now.
But that being said, you are a big pop culture nut.
I am a big pop culture nut.
One of the things that I was going to show, you have a large Loungefly, what do you call it, backpack, purse collection?
Backpack and purse collection, yes I do.
And I think we have a picture of it right here. That's your, what is that from Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, it's the Rivendell.
Rivendell, that's
Yes.
right. You have that, Snow White.
Snow White, I have, you'll see Harry Potter, Deadpool, Captain Phasma.
Nice. You pulled that out of big Star Wars.
BB-8.
Yeah.
I am a big Star Wars fan as well.
Back in your early days when you lived in Uniontown, right? Did you do a lot of that then?
So not when I was in Uniontown, more when I lived in Durham. I got my first job away from home at 23.
Yeah, you moved around.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
I did.
Texas?
So I lived. So the progression was I grew up in Uniontown. I moved away from home from Uniontown to Durham. In Durham, I met my husband, and then we moved from Durham to Texas to back to Pennsylvania or to Maryland, and then from Maryland to Pennsylvania to Columbus, and then Columbus back. I moved back to Pennsylvania, and then unfortunately we were going through a divorce, and he committed suicide a couple years ago. So I'm a widow. And so another like PSA that I like to put out there is if you have friends that you aren't sure are well, or if you just check on your friends.
Yeah.
You never know.
You've done a lot of living in your life.
I have done a lot of living. I have 2 children. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and I have a 15-year-old son who's on the autism spectrum.
Wow, you've done a lot of living. Makes me feel like I lived in D.C., Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Bloomsburg, those kind of Carolina. I feel so small to all the living you've done in your life and everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
And I've known you for how long?
30 years. You and
30
I have known each other
years.
30
I've known you since when I was teaching at California University.
That's where I met you.
Yeah, that's back in the day. Jeez, that's a long time ago.
A very long time. Yeah.
What's it like growing up in the mountains of Uniontown? Uniontown. I used to call it Reunion Town because I have some friends down there I would go down and visit all the time.
It's a town full of nothing.
You have a beautiful landscape.
It is. My parents lived like near the foot of the mountain, so they live right outside of Hopwood. So when I wake up in the morning, if I go out the front porch, and especially in the fall, you can see all the beautiful trees. So
Wow.
It's a beautiful view. My parents they sit on 3/4 of an acre in South Union Township, so it's just beautiful up there. I work at WVU, so I drive to Morgantown every day, and the view on my way to work is nothing but beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's the one beautiful thing about where I live and where I work. So.
Well, Bobbi Jo, I appreciate you coming on the show, the Walk the
happy to
Plank
come out
Show,
here.
telling our viewers a little bit about your background, your life.
Yeah, happy.
For those of you who don't know it yet, you might have missed. You might want to back up and see her when she was on the after show, The Pirate's Booty.
Yeah.
And she was also featured in this month's fan club newsletter for Dead and Buried Treasures. a more extensive interview, a little bit about, we haven't even covered the bases, and I know we have to get back to Fiore after this break because I know he's probably banging on the wall, so let's get back on camera. But I mean, we haven't even talked about you working at a hospital, that you work at Ruby down in Morgantown.
I do.
All kinds of background that you'll probably see in the newsletter as well.
Yeah,
So
get that
check it out.
newsletter
Thank you
out.
so much.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
happy to do it. For you.
I appreciate it. All right, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a small break right now, and we'll be back with more Walk the Plank before we gather part 2 of tonight's adventure on Dead and Buried Treasures, where we watch the second half of The Ghost. But first, we'll get back to Fiore and myself right after this.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Someone's been pulling the strings on everything.
You're under arrest.
I don't want a variable out there that I can't control.
Stop!
Captain America caught without his wings.
You like to play dress up and blindly execute the state's orders.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
What if this is a trap? You don't even know what this is.
Since when were they red?
You want me? Come and get me!
And that's Anthony Mackie picking up the shield and the mantle of Captain America.
You let me hang there, didn't you?
I did let you hang. Waiting to see if
Why
you
did
came
I
up
say-
with it or not. But
Who the hell is Sam Rain?
I don't know. His name's Sam, but
Right, Sam.
Sam Raimi
Is
is
it Sam Wilson
no.
on the show?
No.
Oh my
Anyway,
God, I totally
he's
hung myself
Captain
on that.
America, and he takes over the shield. So there, from Chris Evans. There you go.
So glad you're a
that's
pre-host
the
and
movie.
hosting this with me.
You know what we need to do? We need to
What's
hear
that?
some intelligence scripts. So we're going to dip into the mailbag, and I'll take the first one here.
Ahoy!
Our first letter tonight comes from Sylvia Brockwood from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, I taught there.
Well,
Yeah.
was she one of your students?
What was her name again? I don't
Sylvia Brockwood.
know, but sounds that doesn't.
Well, I
sound
hope for
familiar.
your sake she wasn't, because she'll be
Give me a
PO'd
bad
now.
grade.
That's right. She says, "Hi, Captain Drake. I hope you use my letter on the air." Your wish has been fulfilled.
There it is.
My question is off topic from the show. I know you host a lot of horror movies on TV, but do you have a favorite horror movie or trilogy? Do you?
I do.
Okay.
But they're different. My favorite horror movie, hands down for me, is Jaws. Only because I think it's a perfect movie. They had to deal with so much in creating the movie because the shark is sinking, the shark is sinking. You know, the shark was always sinking. But the best thing about that was in the characters. I like a good movie with good characters against a protagonist. And you had a guy that hated the water, that lived the water, and read about the water, all trapped together to fight the protagonist. I thought that was a perfect film and a great ending and a great. They lucked out with John Williams in the score. That's my favorite horror film.
Ahoy!
I have a question from you out of that mailbag. Believe it or not. Surprise, surprise. Remember how you got me last week? I'm going to get you this week. This was next question comes from Mark Singleberry in Peters Township, and he wrote, this question is for Fiore, your new host. I've watched your movie review show for quite a while on BPTV. It's good.
This is a smart man.
This is Mars Man. It's nice to see you move over and host Walk the Plank for Dead and Buried Treasures. Have you guys known each other for a long time? Also, how long will it be before Rex Reel makes a cameo on Dead and Buried Treasures?
Wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. Let's do the first one first, as far as how long Eric and I have known each other.
time.
Oddly enough, I just completed an interview for the Dead and Buried Treasures newsletter, and we addressed that topic in there. So hopefully you're a member. If not, sign up today. And the next newsletter that comes out will explain
And you can sign up
how
here.
we met, what we did, how we've worked together, and all that happy stuff. As far as getting Rex onto the show. Now, I never thought about that. That's a bit of a conundrum. The time machine that we use on Outtakes with Rex reel to kind of zoom in on the early Cretaceous period and get Rex on the show, it's finicky. And you can see sometimes with the reviews that are online, we get a lot of glitches in it and what have you. I don't know. I don't know if we'd be able to do that while trolling the high seas with the captain.
There is a way to do it. There's a gentleman in the area, because I've seen one of my buddies, one of my friends, Kurt Wooten, who plays Pittsburgh Dad, got a hold of a DeLorean Back to the Future time machine somehow, and time traveled back to we have a rough landing, but I mean, like, maybe we can get him on there via the time machine.
He did that on purpose. About 2 years ago, he flooded my newsfeed page with posts from this guy, and I wrote him back and said, "Will you quit sending me this stuff? I don't think this guy is funny. Stop it. I don't want any more." And so he doubled them up and sent even more. And
you did the same thing with Tom Brady about me. I can't stand that.
That was payback.
Oh, I thought you was you. Well,
no, that was payback for what you were doing. All right, before we
get
in another of our arguments, I got another question for you.
Ahoy!
This one is from Phil Burns, who lives in Cape May, New Jersey.
I vacationed there many moons ago.
Well, geez, I hope this doesn't relate to that.
You know they have a cement ship that's stuck 50 yards off the shore?
I do know that.
That's amazing. Who launches
Did you go to the ship?
I did.
You can scuba around it and stuff.
I watched that, but I mean, who launches a cement ship out and they just went and sank there and they left it? I'm like, who does that?
Somebody who wanted to see if it would work.
The things you do during wartime, I guess. We're out of steel. Get some concrete.
Anyway, Phil writes, "Hello, everyone at Dead and Buried Treasures. I love your show very much, and I just got done watching the one where the red ghost tails at the Bradford Museum in," well, he said Pittsburgh, but apparently it's in Washington. "That was a nice change of pace. Very creepy. I was just wondering if you will have Mirabelle, the mermaid, back on the show. She is very pretty and plays a great mermaid. Will you be doing an interview with her anytime soon on the pre-show? I also like the character of Annette. I love that accent."
Well, then you should have loved the last half hour since we had her on the show, as far as Bobbi Jo McFeely, who plays Annette. But Mirabella, I'm going to see if we can get her back on the show next week. If not, she will be on the end. She will be in the show next week. In fact, she saves the day. It's a long
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But I have to talk to Aline. If we could get her on Walk the Plank, maybe we can do an interview with her. I think she'd love that. We haven't had a chance to do that with her. I wish I could get Jasper up here too, but he lives down in Carolina or Virginia or someplace. I'm not sure he could make the drive. But as far as Mirabella, yes, she is making a return to the show, and we will see if we can get her alter ego on Walk the Plank. So, all right. This next one comes from
Ahoy!
Kenny Bertoli in Raleigh, North Carolina. I guess he's watching on DBTV. Ahoy, Captain Drake. I think you do a really good job on the show. I love how you guys use movie props and your island, and the sci-fi pop culture feel you have. Do you know what would make a good plot line? If you shrink yourself down like the Incredible Shrinking Man, can you do something like this? You know, it's funny that you asked this question, because once in a while when Spirit, you know the Spirit Halloween stores that are all located all over, I will go out the day after Halloween when everything's 50% off, and I'll just kind of tour their movie props, and I found a gigantic pair of scissors, like gigantic, and some other items. So I was thinking about doing something like this, actually, where we shrink me down, you know, and I'm as big and I'm being chased by mice or whatever, you know, and so that's actually not a bad possibility, but I'd have to check on see what we would host, because I don't think the Incredible Shrinking Man is PD, and I know The Fly isn't either version, so I'd have to find a movie appropriate for doing something like that. So I think we might be able to do something like that, absolutely, yeah.
Ahoy!
The next one comes from Melanie Petropoulos in Clearwater, Florida. And she writes, "Hi, Eric. I hope you use my letter on the air. I am a college student here in Florida, but I'm originally from the Pittsburgh area. You've talked once or twice about different colleges you've taught at in the country. Can you tell me what they are? And can you also tell me, do you teach TV production? I was wondering who edited your show." That's from Melanie Petropoulos. Yeah, I have taught at a couple of different colleges, mostly in the Northeast. Well, I mean, I taught at California University, which is now Penn West University in the Mon Valley in California, PA. I taught, and I ran their TV station, which is how I met you on the show down there. And I've also taught at Bloomsburg University, which is about an hour south of Scranton and about 2 hours north of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. I taught at the Art Institute in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I was a professor there, a full professor. I was a full professor at Bethany College, where I ran their television station, parts of their communication program for TV production. And I taught at the College of Southern Maryland, where I ran 4 campus TV stations south of Washington, D.C., about an hour south of Washington, D.C., less than that in La Plata, which is one of the campuses I covered. And I lived in Leonardtown down there. So I've bounced around. I also taught at Clarion University, which is just up on Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania. And I also taught at Robert Morris University, where I went for my doctorate. So I've bounced around quite a bit. If that answers any of your questions about where I taught, that's funny that they would want to know. And yes, I do edit my own show because I want to make sure I'm very articulate, which is why it takes so long to get one out. The green screen is a tough thing, but now that I'm doing more here at the TV station, I'm pretty sure that we will. We switched over to HD now, so that everybody seems that to be all the rage. I was doing standard def, which is why you had the black bars on either side of the screen, so now it's full screen, so we'll see how that goes.
Ahoy!
This one comes from Tim Zaneway of Perryopolis, Pennsylvania. It says, "Hi, Captain. As always, I'm looking forward to tonight's show. I can't wait to see part 2 of your scary stories at the Bradford Museum." Me either. I was wondering if Professor Gertie will be back on the show anytime soon. She does a great job, and it's nice to have some brains on the ship who can help you steer the boat the right way. And that came from Tim Zaneway of Perryopolis, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm hoping to. She had to dial things back a bit. She got busy at home with different things. She has like 4 kids, too.
Yeah.
And she works, and her husband, Rich Kanji, who was your predecessor on Walk the Plank, they're all working. It's really tough in this day and age. So I'm hoping to get her back on the show. I'd love to have her back on the show. So I'm going to see if I can write her into one in the near future. I know she will be on the next show for a fact. So that is good. So she will be on the next show for a fact. So.
Well, with that, we have literally cleaned the house.
Right.
So we're all caught up to speed, but we still have half of a movie and a whole lot of true horror tales coming your way from the fine folks in Washington, PA.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to thank tonight, before we head out, our sponsor for the show, Captain America Brave New World, with Anthony Mackie.
As Captain America.
And, we might as well do these live. And also, I wanted to thank the Bradford House Museum for allowing us to come out to their establishment and do the ghost tales, the creepy ghost tales from the home of the Whiskey Rebellion in Washington, Pennsylvania. That's just south of Pittsburgh. Because I know somebody wrote me another letter that said, "Where is the Whiskey Rebellion? Where is it?" And it's in Washington, PA. You can Google it. You find out all about the resurgence that took place there in 1794, I think. It was 20 years, almost 20 years after he became president. I think that's right. I hope that's 1794. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Thanks for tuning around for part 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we'll take you back to Barbara Steele and the Ghost.